This is the first thing I thought of when I saw Hauler. It was this little green Minicon crane truck I've had sitting on my desk for a while now. Hauler is this awesome green crane truck from the Velocitron line, and he looks amazing in vehicle mode. He has lots of really good paint, from the bumper and headlights to all of his wheels being painted, to the caution stripes, the little struts, support things, and that crane just looks fantastic on this color scheme here. The figure itself rolls pretty well, and you can see you can store the gun on the side there. The crane can move up and down on a ratchet and swivel non-ratchet, and the arm can retract and extend. It's pretty stiff, but and as you can see, the hook articulates a little bit, but I wouldn't get too rough with this. You gotta be careful because it does come detached pretty easily. Now, there's a lot to love about this guy, but one of the funniest things about it is how his face is perpetually screaming into his fists. It's just one of the things that happened whenever he got his new head sculpt. Now, this guy looks amazing, specifically next to things like Scoop and Nautica here, two other characters that I think look really good next to Hauler. But in particular, Scoop and Hauler look amazing together. These guys look like they are ready to be a road crew. But with the vehicle mode out of the way, we're going to get right down into transformation. Alright, so I've only transformed this guy like one or two other times before this, so excuse me if I skip some steps, but it's pretty simple. He has actually a really nice, satisfying transformation. You just fold up the hook, collapse this down, and then you're going to lift this up, which, despite being the grapple mold, he has the fixed pegs that came off of the Inferno and Artfire, so that's really, really nice. And then this whole section just lifts up. So that lifts up. And then we kind of focus up here for a little bit, because the arms are going to split a half and swing around and softly tap in a couple spots. And now we can focus on this, which I still have the head, the eternally screaming head flipped around. This part is just going to, I'm going to kind of pan up and back so you guys can kind of get a better view. This is going to flip up an accordion all the way in on itself until finally these little clips are going to snap in right there. Boom. And then this, you're going to hold the head in place, rotate the crane arm around, and fold it down along its back. Then we're going to come to the legs, flip these out, and just collapse those in. Same thing on the other side. Stand him up, rotate his arms, flip out. I like flipping out only one hand, because then he has these 5mm ports for his other hand. Let me zoom up. These 5mm ports for his other fist, where you can attach the crane claw. So there we have Transformers Velocitron Hauler, or Road Hauler. Now that we're in robot mode, Hauler looks amazing, keeping all of his colors from vehicle mode and just extenuating them through his robot mode. He also gains his blaster and can store almost all his accessories on him in robot mode. The open mouth screaming face makes all of his poses look really, really dynamic, especially when you include his accessory hands and ability to flip around his wrists. While the crane arm on the back of his head is a little gaudy, he still looks super dynamic in almost any pose you get him in, and that claw hand has a clip that works with the airlock system, which is really, really nice. Hauler also stands well with figures from past and present. Being a Voyager class, he clearly shows his size, with Titan's Return Nautica here, Generation Scoop, who I still think he looks like he was made to stand next to. Here we have with a modern deluxe with Red Cog, and for our modern Voyager comparison, Earthrise Optimus Prime. It's always good to get taller Autobots, since we don't really get Voyagers of these guys. So now, articulation on Hauler is pretty basic. If you've handled Inferno or Artfire or Grapple, you know what you're getting into. He has a swivel at the head. That's just about all you're going to get out of that. He has universal shoulders, so they go 360 and they go 90 degrees out. Bicep swivel for 360. Little bit over 90 elbows, just a little bit. No wrist swivel. This is before I think they were fully able to get these flip out wrists with the wrist swivel on there. He does, if you move this out, He does have a 360 at the waist, but you do have to move the crane arm out. Legs go just over a 90. Back pretty far past a 90. 90 degrees out. 90 degrees at the knees, and you could probably snip these pegs off and get a little bit more. But then his vehicle mode might be a little less unstable, or a little bit more unstable. It would have been nice. There's some really nice detailing right here on the waist. It would have been nice to get some paint there, but I'll take it for these like pseudo thigh fillers that they added to that. Like, by the way, this is really nice. I like that they sort of filled in the thighs there. And they painted it too. That's really nice. The ankles can tilt down. They can tilt up, which is really nice just because of transformation. And he has a pretty rad ankle pivot. So yeah, overall, he actually has almost above standard articulation, I would say. The wrist swivel missing, I don't think is that big of a deal. It's not a very wrist swivel heavy character, especially since half the time this is just going to be holding his blaster, and the other time the other hand is an accessory like this, which you can just take this off. I don't know if I made this clear in the photos, but you can take this off and you can replace it with the grapple claw, and this has a tab right there and a slot right there, and you can actually store the little nozzle on the crane arm right there, which is really nice. I think it does that on all the versions of the mold, but still, really nice. Overall, I think Hauler is a really, really neat remold, recolor of that original grapple mold. He looks amazing in this bright, vibrant green. The screaming face is really cool, as we discussed. I like that you can store all his accessories on him, and what's not to love about getting a larger Autobot in the group. I think that this guy is a little overpriced for being in the Velocitron line, just because we've seen this mold so much. I got mine on clearance at Wally World, so check those right now if you've been on the fence about this figure. I enjoy it. I think the mold is good, and I'm glad I have a version of it in my collection now. But the main thing that I wanted this for was, of course, like I've mentioned this entire review, was to put it next to Generation Scoop. So let me know what you thought about this guy in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see next, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Bots Obsession.